Are we on record?
Yep.
All right, so he's also already moved himself onto his side, and he kept his, yeah, he did his, I don't care. Yeah. Did you decide you want this side?
Yes. Show the camera those square bolsters.
Show the camera these square bolsters.
Hey, anybody get those on Amazon?
Sideline. Sideline works best if you have a pretty thick, flat, square bolster. People don't roll around with this. Now he's faced the other way, but when we turn him, you'll be able to see how this does that. This is just foam that we have cut to fit. So, all right. So the bolster goes under what sheet? The bottom one, so we got a sanitary barrier. Ta-da! Now they're really stable. The pillow that was under the abdomen moves up to the head. I've already done his back, so I don't need to do that again. What I didn't get was the lateral side. I got this part of the arm, but I didn't get the rest of the arm. I didn't get the legs at all. So I tend, there's no right or wrong way with this, but I tend to start at the leg and the foot, allows them to settle in up there. If they're chilly, you can either use a blanket or you can bring this up and over. And then here's the table protector fitted sheet. Okay, so.
Or 538.
All right. Now, this is the best position to do the feet. If you aren't going to put them sideline, then do the feet when they're laying on their back, not when they're laying on their tummy. All right. So I forgot and got lotion on this part before I did the palpation assessment for hot, cold, wet, dry. So, oh well. But I remembered and got it here, and I don't feel anything particular. So I tend to hold the foot right here. Sometimes when you push against it, it goes against the edge of the table. So now, in my little head, there's a couple of things going on. I am bent way over, aren't I? Okay, now I could sit, or I could use this as a little opportunity to stretch a little bit. And then the same idea with the compression, go with the grain and across the grain. If I want more pressure, it comes from putting the back foot into the floor, not me coming up on it. Don't come up on it like this, you'll hurt yourself. It compresses all that and shoves your shoulder right up into your AC joint. You want to keep behind that right there. You can do this too. But I've worked on athletes' feet. They're big. And don't use your fingers. Don't do that. Now, the movements. If I push here, I'm getting some rotation at the hip and at the knee. And then if I come this way, I'm getting a movement of the bones in the ankle, or not the ankle, in the foot, that allow inversion and eversion. See all that movement happening? So just gentle movements go a long way for supporting generalized joint movement all the way up the chain here. Toes. I want you to just see what's happening. Toes. And don't forget the digits. Somebody better call out a joint movement. What did I do? Knee flexion. Okay, so I'm going to use that bottom sheet because I'm going to prop that foot right here for me. It's this way. And now I can use my forearm, come against that calf. Let this hand just touch. Don't let it flail. Touch. See, he knows I'm right there. He doesn't have to wonder where that hand is. Right there. Up into, this is the best way to get the medial thigh. And just by changing my angle, do you see how that leg is changing? It's like I dropped my sheet there. Kneading the calf. Is it soft? It's the attachments are closer together this way. That makes it easier to knead. And don't forget the idea of shaking stuff. You're going to learn that that's your best lymphatic movement right there. Those of you that might have had some exposure, I know they want you to do this, but this works. So you didn't have any real complaints there. I didn't really feel anything there. I'm done. So there's no sense staying in an area because you think you need to spend time with it. But I want to do, when I turn him, I want to do the same kind of movements with the other leg so that I get the same assessment process. Over here. Ta-da. So now I got this action with the foot. When you go to move the sheet, see how I got either side of it right here? And then just up and tuck. So here we go. I didn't feel anything. It's joint movement. Come across. This is that. Lean back. Push forward. Lean back. Push forward. Not, I caught a couple of you doing that. Just gotta grasp, gotta get way under, lean back, push forward, lean back. So typically students at your stage are spending too long in one spot. Have you noticed that? And I want you to be able to do legs prone, legs sideline, legs. I want you to be able to do that. But as we're approaching midterm, you're going to not have to also start thinking about timing and gonna do sideline. Legs are easier sideline. Glutes aren't. Glutes, the hip region is easier with them on their tummy, prone. Just like I think the back is. Doesn't mean that we can't do them that way, but if we're gonna pick the most efficient one, get this area when they're on their tummy. Get legs and arms when they're side lying in the lateral thorax, and then pick up the rest of it when they're supine. See the double contact? They always know where stuff is at. This is all palpation assessment. I'm looking to see, does the tissue slide? Does it have a resilient and non-lumpy type of a texture? Do I feel normal layering of the muscles in through there? Do they flinch when I'm doing this? If I'm doing something and I get a flinch, right there, say watch. That's too much. Now I didn't see it, I felt it because I had my hand right here. Flinch. Start to think about doing more than one thing at a time. So I didn't feel anything there either. The poke that made him flinch, I did it. When somebody flinches or they start, often it's because you poked them. You got a little narrow, got up on the point of your elbow, got on the edge here, didn't change your pressure when you were getting to something a little bit more bony, that kind of thing. The nice thing about doing the arm in this position is you can control it. Otherwise, it's all over the place. So, you see I have the same assessment pattern. Position, glide, 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 knead, knead. Not feeling anything. And I'll oftentimes say that to the client, especially my athletic clients. They are always thinking something's wrong or there might be something with performance, and I'll stop and I'll say, felt good. Everything felt good. Okay, what's that?
What'd you do? I didn't see it.
Oh, of elbow. What page is that on? Look at you guys flipping through your magnificent.
Oh, 522.
Okay. All right, so remember there, that's in chapter 10 in your essential science book. They'll tell you where all the muscles and stuff are and what the normal movement should be. What should it be with the elbow? 0 to
90.
and a little, 90 and a little. It does that. Now, I didn't have to go assess. You might have to do that when you're learning. But right now, I've done this 100,000 times. So many of your positionings become your assessment. All right. Then I'm going to bring that across, which is another movement of the shoulder and the scapula. So I can get to this lateral thorax. Which so often gets missed. And the drapings was pulled tight across the,
You lost the back one.
yeah. Make sure that that's tucked under the head. Now that's pulled tight, then this becomes the anchor. Now, as we move more into dealing with common conditions, lots of people have breathing issues. And you've got to get them on their side to get a hold of that breast. We're going to bring this arm back up. Now I can move the whole scapula area. So there's a whole section in that book about scapular movement. What's upward and downward rotation. So forward, back. This becomes a pull. Forward, watch my legs. Back. Forward, back. Not in my arms, it's in my legs. See how that positioned that right up a hill for me? Right there. Now, even though Luke's being a demo, and I'm talking, oh, which wrist did you hurt? So technically, I should have assessed the other arm first, but life happens, right? This wrist bothers him. So what I might say is, while I apply pressure through this, can you roll that in a circle? Roll it in a circle. This is what I did to you, Amber.
Mm-hmm. Before you asked him to move, he was automatically like
Starting to
you
do
got
that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I didn't do a formal assessment on that right at that moment. We knew about that. We did that before he even got on the table. So. And can you bring that up? So this is active. Does that hurt?
Like it's out of range.
All right. Push up against my hand. Push, 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 push. Keep going. Does that make it hurt less?
Good.
Or is it about the same?
A little less.
A little less. If it hurts less when they contract, it's soft tissue more than joint. Those are just little things that you'll learn. And go the other way with it. I'm having him do the movement because it's injured, and I want a level of protection with it. Move it down now. That doesn't bother. At end range. All right, and then roll it in a circle. Right there. All right. So we're going to use that same thing I did on his hip. I'm going to hold it still. He's going to move it. And then I'm going to have him hold it still, and I'm going to move it and see if we can just have a general. It's like you shake the wrinkles out of something. So when you do that, you take it to the end range, and the end range can go right into the middle. That's called the loose pack position. I'm going to hold it still. I'm going to show him what I want him to do. I want you to move it like that. Okay? Go ahead. And then go the other way. It should never feel sharp. Okay, now you hold it still, and I'm going to move it. This is more aggressive. Let's hold it still without fingers clenched. And then you move it, and I'll hold it still. So this is an intervention. This is trying to shift something. Okay, and go ahead and move it and see if it's different. You have to hunt for it a little bit.
Yeah.
If they have to hunt for it a little bit, there's a little bit of a change. Right? Just like with the feet, don't forget the whole hand. Don't be afraid to move them around. So he's got limited range with that arm, so I just moved it out of my way. I'm going to get in here. This is the better way to do this push-pull on the back. Does that feel good? And then you can,
Now, is it that side, Luke, or the other side where it was up into your head? The left was
other
up in his
side.
head.
yeah. So all
But
of,
when she's pulling, she would.
I'm getting right underneath and getting into it. All of this attaches way up here. So you know, if anybody's got any neck, shoulder, mid-back, you've got to get into the head area. And this gets missed. Good job.
Camera can see what you're doing.
Again, muscle structures, frontalis into the scalp, goes into the occipital muscles here, which attaches to everything up here. And then people who are, they grind their teeth a lot, or if they're in any kind of discomfort, so that's the jaw muscles, muscles of mastication up into the temporalis. And then I can say, open your mouth. Ah, that's making it longer. Clench your teeth. Back and forth. So that's inhibitory pressure plus what? Movement. Now, I don't do a lot of the pretty facial massage. You can. You certainly can, especially you, being an esthetician. I'm always focused on that idea of normalization of the tissues. But you do have to massage the face and the scalp thoroughly because there's so much that goes on there. Right here is a common spot for lights. A lot of stuff attaches right there. So a broader, the more focused a point, the broader your contact. So I'm going to use this part of my arm right there. You won't be able to see it. Right there. That's safer. And then, like you saw with Laura, I had him move his eyes. I had him move his eyes in a circle. Did you see me adjust my feet? Look at where I was. See my butt sticking out? I'm leaning over on top. And so now, see how that's more stable? Most of the clients I have worked with like some traction on the scalp with the hair or some compression. You just got to make sure that it's okay. That would be sideline. I would get this arm in this position. He doesn't have the range of motion. I know that. So. And then, so he reminded me of getting this raphe right through here. Remember, this is where all of the tissues from the low back, from the sacrum, come into here, and then all of the stuff in the front comes over and holds hands right there. So that area needs to be rolled back and forth with some pressure down. So I'm doing the same thing with my forearm, which is my preferred method. And then what do I do if I want more pressure? I want them to help. What do I tell him to do? Roll back against me. And then forward. I'm going to start over again. Good. One more time. And again. Push back. So as he pushes back, I brace myself with that back foot. So he said, oh, yup. Oh. When you hear that, just stop. Just stop and hang out. And then tell them to move in and out of it. Move in and out, in and out. This is inhibitory pressure plus movement. Now I could call that the trigger point of the lumbar dorsal something, or the medial or lateral fibers of the external oblique or what, but I don't know. Those things are so smooth. What's the important thing? I'm on the spot. And he's controlling the pressure through his movement. I am not doing this. I'm just leaning on it and giving him something to push and pull against.
Then I can kind of guide into and out of the spot more effectively too. Like if she doesn't have to worry about being perfectly on it, I can reposition.
And find it. Now, if your arm is like this, that's a broad contact in there. If you want a more pointed, just lift your arm just a little bit. Just a little bit, not this. The narrower the point of contact, the more pressure it feels like. So sometimes people need that real pinpointed thing in order for it to feel right. Okay. So I'm just going to have him roll quickly and show you a couple of things on the abdomen that I want you to incorporate, and we'll be good to go. So you remove your bolster. I'm not doing the other side. Let's pretend I did that. Get the bolster out of the way. I'd have them roll over and bend their knees. This towel goes right over here on the chest. The client exposed themselves. Now, what I'm going to show you to do as far as that refait is concerned and on the abdomen, I'm going to show you over the sheet or where you don't have to bring the drape down. So, see how I made a little opening right through there? I'm going to come way underneath.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. That feels so good.
All right, now I'm going to lean back. That can be just enough, or I can add movement to it. Can you turn your knees the other direction? Now he's pulling his own tissues through there. Why people are fussy about the belly, I don't know. But so really way back, I'm way back where his spine is at. Okay. Bring your knees crossed. Now, when I come this way, I'm pushing it to reposition. I'm pushing it down. If I have them move their knees the other direction, it brings that right up so I can get to it. I want you to make sure you learn how to do that. Only thing that is left, because I have already done the feet, I've already done the calves, I've already done the side of the leg. The only thing that's left on the legs is the quads. And so I often won't even bother bolstering at that point. I'll just do my thing. Especially if there's no major focus with that. And then you have to have a level of finishing. I already did the arms, so I don't have to do them again. So you're going to learn that some of this stuff right here supports lymphatic flow. And even with the movement, they're going to be a little dry. They'll lay on your table forever. So you need to say at about this time, I'm going to do a little bit more with your neck and head, and then I'm going to leave and take 2 or 3 deep breaths and then get up and meet me in the hall, or they will not get up. So I'm going to turn his head this way. That's a joint movement. Who's got the... And then I'm going to turn it this way. And I'm going to do a little bit more of this kind of movement through here. Get the forehead area. A little up. That's one of those movements. A little back.
Is it the cervical rotation that you're doing, Sandy?
Huh?
The cervical rotation.
Cervical rotation, capital rotation. I got all that neck. Now, if I'm doing it in segments, this is the lateral flexion. This is the rotation. This is the capital. This is the cervical. But when I'm going through this, well, that wasn't very good. But when I'm going through it rhythmically like this and I'm paying attention and I understand those movements, which one looks more relaxing to the client? This one or? So you've got to learn to feel when you get through that. And that's only going to come with practice. I already did this side lying. I tend not to get in through here. It may be because I'm sensitive myself about lotion getting into my face. So a little bit of rocking and shaking and we're done. Ta-da!